My name is Jacqueline Farrell. Officially, it's Margaret Jacqueline Farrell, but I've always been called Jacqueline. And I've been in Scotland now for close to 2 years. I left UK when I was 26 or so to go to South Africa with my husband and children. And now I'm back because I have one son here in Scotland on his own.
So you're a new Scot.
I'm a new Scot, yes.
And so, I mean, obviously you say your son, but was it, what did it feel like coming to Scotland? Was it a big change for you?
Cold. Definitely cold. After 60 years in South Africa, cold.
Yeah.
But you know, you dress for the weather, wherever you are. So I find that doesn't bother me too much.
That's what they say. No such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing.
Yes, yeah.
And did you know anything? What did you know about Scotland before you came here, or about Glasgow?
Well, I knew it was part of the UK because I was born in Manchester. I grew up there. So Scotland was always part of us. Anyway, my son returned to the UK about 10, 12 years ago because he couldn't stand the heat. He's been happy here. He tried a few places and finally settled in Glasgow, and he said there's nowhere else in the world he would live.
Because for some people who don't know it, Glasgow has a fearsome reputation. Had you heard any of those kind of stories?
Yes, and I've read some. I am on Facebook. I am on social network. I know there's a lot of scary things that go on, but the people that I've come into contact to have been very nice.
Well, that's the important thing. So tell us about tell us about moving here and the people that you've met and so on.
Well, it was a big deal moving. I left family behind. But I have a son, I have a granddaughter, I have great-grandchildren, I have cousins and nieces and nephews here. So it's not as if I'm totally alone. It was a big change coming. It was a very stressful move. But my son isn't too well. He has back problems, leg problems, breathing problems. He has problems. So he needed somebody fit and healthy to keep an eye on him.
Good old mum.
Yeah.
And what about? So you pitched up here. You didn't. You had some family, as you say, but
I had been on a couple of holidays to visit him. So I had been to Scotland, and I had explored some of the places that you can get to by car, because my son doesn't really walk. He has a bigger walker than I have, and he really needs it. So he's taken me around in his car. I've been to Scotland, I've been to the military tattoo, I've been to the theatres. I love the theatres here. I'm hoping to get to see Aida tomorrow. Sunday, tomorrow. Yes,
Fantastic.
Sunday.
Fantastic. And what about where you stay? Where exactly do you stay?
A little outside Johannesburg.
No, in Glasgow. Where do you?
In Glasgow, I live in Bridgeton area, about 5 minutes walk away.
And how have you found the people that your new neighbours and so on?
Fine. Some of them are taking a long time to get to know. I say hello to a few people in my building, but I've only got chatting to one person so far. My son pushed me to come to the community centre, and I joined the knitting group. And I have a couple of very good friends in the knitting group now that we go out together, have lunch, have meals out, go take a bus. So I'm developing a little friendship circle, which is, you know, when you're older and you're on your own, it's your friends that are so important. They're the ones who uphold you. Your family expects of you, but your friends uphold you, so they're very important.
And what have they told you about the the history of this place? Have they talked to you about that at all?
No, not very much. I have found out little things on Facebook. I love Facebook. And I visited Largs last weekend. No, a couple of weeks since. I think Easter weekend, I went to Largs with my son. But because he doesn't really walk, we didn't stop. We drove through slowly, and he couldn't see a parking. There's a parking. No, that's off the road. Yeah. So I drove through Largs.
Right.
I was reading something about Largs yesterday. It's apparently the place where the Scots finally saw off the Vikings. So I thought, I must go and find out about this. So one of my friends from the group and I were going to take the bus to Largs when it's a little bit warmer and get to know it.
And you must go and have ice cream at Nardini's. Yes.
Yes.
What about this area specifically, Brigton, Dalmarnock, and so? What have you learned? What are the stories you've been told about here, if any?
Not
Not
many.
really. No.
I do know that it's a very gentle climate regarding the rest of Scotland and even a lot of England. You know, we had one day of very light snow this winter. And look what they had in England and the Highlands. So I like the climate. It's quite temperate. It's cold. It's not too windy. It's rainy, but you don't get thunderstorms so far.
That's true, actually.
So it's really temperate. And this morning when I was walking up, I thought, there's a bit of breeze this morning. There's not very much wind. You hear about storms and gales racking England and coming north. And you look at the trees and you think, I wonder when. So it's I like the climate. It could be a little bit warmer. I hate the dark winters. I'm used to sunshine, long days of sunshine. And I have macular degeneration, so darkness does not suit me.
And what about the warmth of the not of the weather, but of the people that you've met and the
I
local
have
community?
found that getting on the bus drivers are much friendlier in where my sister lives in Brixham. Here, you get on and off the bus, you greet the driver, they go, Myung. Occasionally one will say to you, okay, good morning or something, but mostly they don't.
And do you find people engaging you in conversation apart from the driver on the bus?
The driver doesn't, no. But I do get chatting to people. You know, not always, but some days you just pass a remark and you end up having a good old chat, you know. So
Supposedly Glaswegians are famous for talking to complete strangers. I don't know whether that's...
no, one of the things I really, really miss is walking down the street and I greet people, because in South Africa you do. It doesn't matter what colour, what race, what language they speak, you greet them. Mora, good morning, hi, how are you? You know, as you're just walking past each other, you don't walk past people without greeting them. And I go out of my gate and somebody's walking past and I say good morning, and so I miss that.
That's interesting, yeah, okay. And what do you, I mean, you're saying you're looking forward to going to the opera, which is great.
Aida, yes, I'm hoping. I haven't booked, but there's still some seats on. I have to make arrangements to get there and back.
Of course. And what other things, apart from the theatre, do you look forward to? Trip to Largs, you mentioned.
Sorry?
A trip to Largs, you mentioned.
Yes,
but
I like getting out and about. I like having a walk. I have friends that I walk with, friends that I go shopping with. the two special friends I have mentioned. I'm going out with one somewhere tomorrow.
So all in all, if you were talking to your South African friends or any other kind of friends, would you recommend coming to stay in Glasgow?
I would definitely say come and visit.
Terrific. All
I
right.
would, yes.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline.